Hi, I'm Karl Konrad and welcome to the Christmas edition of Australian Immigration News and of course the last one for this year. We want to thank you for your support during the year and helping our channel exceed 27,000 subscribers in just 18 months of operation. Today we're going to discuss the borders opening and who can enter Australia, the shockingly bad news for many hoping for New South Wales state sponsorship for the 190 visa, the extension of the 485, 489 and 491 visas for those who have been stuck offshore, the extended periods granted to the 485 visa applicants, travel permission on the 408 visa, and how India has overtaken China as the largest number of international students in Australia.
Merry Christmas!
The biggest news for December was, of course, the Immigration Department allowing many temporary resident visa holders back into Australia. A few days later, it was placed on hold for 2 weeks due to the Omicron scare, but since then, the government is committed to opening the borders and the green light was given again. However, there are a number of restrictions still in place regardless of what temporary visa you hold. Make sure you keep yourself up to date with any recent development or changes. It is expected that more visas will be added to the list over time for those to enter Australia. The big milestone, of course, will be when the 600 visitor visa will be added. Our guess is by March of next year, but that is just our estimate. In preparation for this event, the government will also extend by a further 6 months the visa application charge waivers for new visitor visa applicants who are overseas when their visa expired or will expire between the 1st of January 2022 and the 30th of June 2022. Stay tuned for more good news about the easing of travel restrictions in the weeks ahead. This good news stories of the borders opening up is overshadowed by the terrible news on Tuesday regarding changes to the New South Wales 190 visa sponsorship requirements. This was shocking news for many who have been living in New South Wales hoping they have a chance for the 190 visa selection. Under the new rules, those occupations listed here will need to have at least 3 years of experience before they will be eligible to receive an invitation to apply to New South Wales for sponsorship. At the same time, the New South Wales government has opened the doors to offshore applicants for most occupations on the New South Wales lists. You can check out a link to the New South Wales website in the description below. The opening to offshore applicants but slamming the door shut to many onshore hopefuls will not go down well with the temporary residents here in New South Wales. Many of these hopefuls in New South Wales have supported this state during the pandemic, doing the work that many Australians did not want to do, and now their reward is to have one of the remaining pathways to a permanent residency taken away from them just before Christmas. As I've said before about New South Wales, if you're thinking of studying here in this state, then think again. It may be time to consider your choice elsewhere in Australia. Those who are already studying here, perhaps you should even leave your provider and find a new one in a state or territory that is more reliable. Along with the easing of travel restrictions is the long-awaited news of visa extensions being possible for the 485, 489 and 491 visa holders for those who have been unable to enter Australia due to the travel bans. Whilst we welcome this announcement, the government should have given an indication months ago that it was considering such a move, rather than leave it to the last minute just before the visa holders are able to enter Australia. Many people have suffered for months due to the government's silence on this issue, and that clearly could have been avoided. You can expect the laws regarding these extensions should be released by next month, for I'm sure that many may enter Australia with only a few weeks left on their current visas, and they will need to have the ability to apply ASAP. The 485 graduate visa is now being granted for longer periods for some of you. Those who have studied a master's by coursework will get 3 years, up from the old 2 years, and the graduate stream applicants are now getting 2 years, up from the old 18 months. Furthermore, those who are studying in the vocational education and training sectors, known as the VET sectors, from the 1st of July, all students who meet the Australian study requirement, no matter what the subject matter on their courses, can apply for the 485 visa and be given a 2-year visa. This is news the VET sector has been crying out for years, putting them on an equal footing with the higher education sector. The 408 pandemic visa has always been granted with a strange must not arrive after date, usually 1 week after it was granted. Now, this has never really been an issue before because you couldn't travel anyway. However, now that you can, this statement on the grant letter has caused considerable confusion because a visa is also granted with multiple travel permission. The government has recognised this anomaly and released the following statement. Following the government's recent announcement on borders reopening, the subclass 408 pandemic event visa holders may be considering departing Australia temporarily for a holiday or to visit relatives once the border reopens for them. The subclass 408 pandemic event visas are granted with multiple entry, so visa holders are free to travel in and out of Australia while their visa is still in effect, provided they meet the definition of a fully vaccinated eligible traveller and other requirements. The 7-day must not arrive after date will not prevent the visa remaining in effect once they depart Australia. So there you go, you're free to travel on the 408 visa. India has now overtaken China for the number of student visas issued for Australia. Will this be a new long-term trend as the country's relationship with China deteriorates? Figures released last week demonstrate how Australia has fallen behind in our major competitive countries, the United Kingdom, Canada and the US, in attracting international students to our education institutions. Of course, the border closure has everything to do with this, but will this lost ground be permanently forfeited? What is even more disturbing of late is the number of student visas being refused for those applicants onshore, with the genuine temporary entry requirement being cited as the reason. Surely at a time of this financial difficulty for our education providers, who cares if students want to stay in Australia longer than they planned? It seems economic insanity that the department is refusing student visas for those onshore, jeopardising the much-needed revenue that the providers need. When a student visa is refused, in all likelihood, they will appeal that decision and then decide not to continue with the course they had planned for. So that's it for this year, and it's been a roller coaster ride of information. Fortunately, we're now climbing up from the abyss and the future is looking good. If you need assistance in deciding what to do, please book a time to talk to us, as we're not just some AI voiceover presenting the news, we are real-life experienced professionals with decades of practice. Join us on Facebook where we post the news even faster than these videos. So from all of us in the office here in Sydney, take care of yourself and enjoy the Christmas and New Year break.